right. Well, first of all, I want to give thanks to my Lord Jesus Christ and Savior. It's through him that I'm able to get up and do this every day through this wonderful family, and I consider everyone family. Altrina says extended family, however you want to look at it. It is through the education of these talks each and every day. I've been having Taylor send me the talks so I can listen to them throughout the day. And what people such as yourself, Scott, and thank you for taking a step back and put me in the three hole. You had a great day yesterday, and congratulations also to Altrina and Billy. It's just phenomenal to be able to extract a lot of the information from you guys that have been out there. You've seen the struggles, you've worked with them, and going back and being able to listen to the calls has truly helped me over the past few weeks just have a different motivation, a different feeling, a different drive. And that's what I was telling Tony last week. And with the leads, and it's just, you can't beat the system. It is hands down phenomenal. And I'm grateful to each and every one of you on here. Walter King drives me every day. Dom Thompson does. All of you guys do. And I've reached out to Walter some lately, and I always reach out to Joe. I haven't spoken to him in a few days, but I miss those talks. And when you learn to actually humble yourself enough to realize that you need influence from ones that have been there, that have went through it, and they can honestly help you. It's a humbling feeling, but it's the greatest feeling because you're able to step in that home. And when you get kind of stuck, you're getting better at not being stuck, if you know what I'm saying. And because you're able to reflect back on what someone said in our morning meetings. And it's just awesome. It has really just helped me tremendously. And I'm grateful to each and every one that gets on this call and that speaks. And not to take up much more time, but yesterday, Scott, was kind of parallels yours a little. I ran into a Marine vet, and 68 years old, very stern, very standoffish. His wife had made an appointment with me. We ran into the snow yesterday where they didn't do anything up here in North Carolina with the roads. I don't think they expected as much as what they got. There were several accidents in front of me prior to getting there, so I had a 9:30 appointment with him yesterday, and he's a truck driver. So she wanted me to be there as early as possible for them. And I was about 15 minutes late, but they were totally okay with that. But I met some fur babies, friends that Walter King would love. I met Maggie and Harley, which Harley was bigger than I am. And I'm not a small guy, but I thought of Walter as soon as I saw him. But we got to the table. We sit out at the dining table, and she says, we like to do our business here at the table. So I knew right then I was going to be on the spot, and I had to watch my P's and Q's. We got to talking. I got everybody's assessment, found out what was going on in previous histories, and found out she had brought her policies as I had asked. She had them on the corner of the table for me. She had already got them set out. Went through the policies, found out they were in UL policies, and they had no clue how bad it was getting ready to be. So we called the company. We got every bit of the information through. And when you watch a Marine soften, that's a little tough. When you realize his money's been going somewhere that wasn't going to benefit him later in life, and it was going to cost him more. And you see a Marine soften, that gets you hard a little bit. And so we got all the information. We're getting them some cash back. It was a little over a couple of grand. We got them actually into better policies, and it's taking care of their family. We've actually got them more coverage than they anticipated we could get them, and paying just a few dollars, I think $5 more on him, and maybe around $8 or $9 more a month on her, which they were perfectly fine with. And you knew you built a rapport with them for the time that I was there, and you knew when I left I had a client for life. And that is just, again, establishing that rapport, establishing that confidence in them that I will be there when something physically happens to them is beyond some of the greatest feelings I've ever known. And it's just through the great group that we have here that I am advancing and getting stronger every day in my abilities to do what I do, and I am so grateful to each and every one of you.
You guys definitely keep me ticking, my extended family. Yesterday was a really good day. Well, just to be transparent, it started out kind of rough. So yesterday, my day started out rough, just trying to compartmentalize all the different hats I wear. And then after I drop the kids off at school and leave the gym, they call and say, hey, Mommy, it's snowing. You got to come and get us. So I had to stop my day to go and get the kids. So now it's 10:30, and I haven't even started yet. But, the difference between success and failure is not the struggles and the obstacles of life, but how you respond to them. And so I taught myself a long time ago to give myself 5 minutes to respond or kick and scream or have a temper tantrum, and after that 5 minutes I got to keep going. One of the things that always helps me is having a mentor, and I follow a lot of great people, but the one person that I talk to all the time, especially when I'm trying to get through some type of struggle, is Scott. And I learned from my mentors a long time ago that you should have one person that you can always call that's where you're trying to get to, or that's at least laterally moving up, that you can get some impartation from. And so Scott is that person for me, and he is awesome in my life. So thank you, Scott. And I don't just talk to him. I earn his time. So I do the things that I'm supposed to do so that he doesn't mind giving to me and imparting to me any time that I need it. So he really helped me out yesterday. I just wanted to say a couple things. First of all, favor comes after intent. So yesterday, and my life is intentional. God is intentional, so I choose to live my life that way as well because it keeps me in his will. You can call it the law of attraction. You can call it karma. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But for me, I call it being intentional. And intent is synonymous to purpose. So, like, intentional means you have an aim or a plan. And I have certain goals in my life that I'm going to reach intentionally. But I truly believe also that favor comes after intent. So if you decide on something and you actually move forward to do that, then also you get favor. I think Jim Hanrahan maybe on the group me yesterday talked about doing something for one of his clients that was great, and then he got favor after that. He was able to close a deal or something like that. I truly believe in that. I just give y'all an idea. Some of my big goals that I have, my birthday is coming up in May, and it's going to be a wrap. So it's going to be really hard to get me in May unless you're on my team. I'll stop in the middle of my beach trips to talk to my team. But that's one of my big goals is May. Also, another big goal is I want to have $75,000 saved by the end of June, and I want to have $100,000 saved by January 1st, 2019. So those are some big goals, but I'm definitely on track. And, I can't wallow in my struggles if I want to reach those goals, so I have to do that. Yesterday was a really good day. Like I said, I didn't get out until about 12:30 yesterday. And because I was intentional, I said, no matter what's going on, I'm going to dry my tears, and I'm going to get out here, and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And then I know God is going to grant me favor if I do what I'm supposed to do. So I did that. And, I stacked up my fresh leaves, those awesome leaves that Tony provided us that are ridiculously awesome. And I got out, and I got to a couple of doors. My second door, I went into this home with this beautiful family. Ended up, long story short, helping this lady that had, she had 3 Foresters policies, 2 Gerber policies, 2 American Income Life policies, and 1 Globe policy. So, I had a field day. I was there for about 2.5 hours, ended up helping her son, and her brother. Got to go back today and help her best friend and another brother. So that was awesome, and the favor came at the end of the day. I was over $3,000 already, and I got a phone call that said, hey, you helped me a couple of weeks ago, and my sister needs some insurance. Can you come by? I dropped everything and went back out in the field last night at about 7 o'clock and did a $176 policy with Transamerica. So, again, favor comes after intent, so make sure you live your life intentional and don't wallow in your struggles, but respond to them the right way. Keep the right leaders in your life and read the right books. That's it, Scott.
Absolutely. Thank you for the celebration. It's always great to have the family celebrating after a good day. Good morning, Tone. Good morning to the nation. Definitely great to be here. But, yeah, absolutely, man. Always got to start off, God's grace. We work our faith. And, of course, I got to remember our source, Deuteronomy 8:18. Really, for me, it's a quick prayer every single morning. It's God lead me to the people that need me, speak to me and speak through me. and then I'll go through our systems, which is, have your leads, have your appointments, and really just go to work. But 4,000 in a day, I actually had to think about it, Tone. Sometimes we get so excited. We think about Grant Cardone and we think about Gary Vee and these conferences and the calls, and everybody's doing so well and making a bunch of money that we kind of overlook that. I know right now, obviously with all the competitions, it's just write as much as you can, and you're not even realizing 4,000 in a day. So for me, I look at it two ways, and I'm going to get into it, but I'd be remiss if I didn't really go over this. But, one, it's not a lot of money respectively to where the goals are set, and where I want to go. However, it's the pace that I need to be on. I know Scott's doing fantastic. You're doing fantastic. Atrina, those are the numbers I want to see and I want to hit. So these are the numbers that I need to hit. But the flip side of it, I really had to reflect, how I started and what it actually used to take to hit 4,000 in a week, let alone one day. I mean, I'm so grateful. It's hard to express it, to be honest, without getting emotional, because I used to have to leave my house in Columbus on Monday, would not return until Friday, be away from my kids, my wife, and my family, and I would just miss so much each week. It was just crazy, and some weeks I wouldn't even hit 4,000. So I'm doing all that and not even hitting it. But now I get to wake up every day. I make breakfast for my boys. My wife and I, we drive. We drop the boys off at daycare and the school. We get time to talk. And even though I may miss a few dinners and things like that because we're working late, I'm still home every night, and I'm making more money than ever before. So it's just, man, it's just a fantastic thing when you just stop and think, like, wow, 4,000. And I know Atrina did that in her sleep yesterday. She wrote over 4,000. But, just grateful, humbled, and blessed. And I got to touch this real quick. I know I talk a lot of smack during the competition with the Wizard and the whole March Madness, but you guys got to understand that I'm really coming from a place, just of camaraderie and just fun. And it was lonely out there. 2 years in the middle of Florida, nowhere, and got nobody to talk to, nobody pushing you. And now look at the group me, and you guys are just fantastic. So that's really what's helping me, is just having this team. I know you guys probably get tired of hearing me say it, but it makes such a difference. Because I'm going to be honest, Tone, 4,000 on a Tuesday, I'd be done for the week. I'm just, I'll go back out and we'll write another $4,000 next week because it's enough. But being here in the nation, enough is not good enough. We want to go from good to great to phenomenal, and, that's what we're pushing for, and you guys helped me to really do that. But a quick case study, 69 female. She has 4 policies, all modified. And so right away I'm thinking, you have to keep your composure and you have to mine for gold. The reason why I say this is it was a senior center, which I'm going to book. Shout out to Gorilla. I need that. Whatever happens next week, I need it. But in the senior center, I couldn't get in. If you guys know what I'm talking about, sometimes you hit the number, she's not answering. So I call her on the phone and she comes down, gives me the big old hug. I'm so happy you're here. So right away I knew the Bill Ham, I could smell the sale. And I said, okay, keep your posture. She brings out 4 or 5 Lincoln Heritage policies, all modified, and I'm salivating. I literally could not sit still. I got my B12 ramped up. I just had my coffee, and I'm wanting to die. But I had to take a good 30 to 45 minutes, guys, hear me, and just warm up and talk to her. She just lost her son 2 weeks ago. He just got out of prison, and he was murdered. I mean, we deal with some real things. They found him tied up. His mouth was duct taped, and won't get into all that, but she was really going through something, and she wanted to make sure that she had all the right stuff because come to find out, his policy was all messed up, and she had to come out of pocket. And so long story short, with that, we dug in, we got to it, and we got her a day 1 coverage through Foresters, increased her coverage immensely, and also got her a check back, and she was astounded. And so I just say that you got to be patient. You got to dig for gold. Don't just go in and settle for the sale, but really just earn a client for life, with your service, and just really get after it. And then the last one real quick, Tone, was a client had New York Life AARP, really didn't know where it was going. This was the second one of the day, and she was fighting me a lot, really didn't believe in insurance. She had one with her husband, and AARP never paid out. She hates that company. Come to find out, this is where you guys got to dig, and where I dig every day is we got her bank statement, got down to the nitty-gritty, and wouldn't you know it, for $159 a month, she's paying New York Life AARP. She had no clue. So obviously we wrapped that up. It was a term policy, got her into something she knew was going to take care of the family and, taking care of folks. So I'll pass it back to you, Tone. I really hope that helps somebody.
man. Good morning. Hey, congratulations, Dom. Yeah, it's an excellent day. Hey, but I will tell you something, and Bill Hamlin knows what I'm talking about. In the real March Madness, everybody knows that your bracket will be busted if you don't keep an eye on the 12 seed in any category. So I'm officially putting myself out there as the 12 seed. So I'm Butler, I'm Creighton, I'm one of these lower level teams out there that just might surprise some people. But in any event, yesterday was a good day. I just grabbed the leads, put them in the route for me. Thank you, Scott. And off we went to the races. And just a couple of quick cases. I went up to a single wide trailer. Usually, that's a great thing to approach because it sounds like a cash register when you pull into the community. But this one I was kind of It was a 58-year-old single male, and lots of times those aren't the greatest prospects to go after. But he pulled up right behind me as I was putting the delivery notice on his door. And bottom line was, great guy. He retired early. He had some back problems for the work that he did, and I really warmed up to him a lot. We kind of hit it off, and bottom line is, within about 10 minutes, the guy was actually tearing up. He takes care of his mom and dad. Mom has CHF. Dad has Alzheimer's. They live in the trailer right next to him, up the hill. Has one sister, no help. He has one daughter that he loves and he really wants to take care of. She's having some financial difficulties and whatnot, and her marriage is a little rocky. So the guy, he was a really caring guy. And unless I would have sat down and really got to know the guy, I wouldn't have picked up any of this. He said, he's talked to other people, never really did anything. So in this case, the warm-up was everything. And it turns out, the more you talk to people, the more you find out about them. And, I like the guy. He likes me. We ended up doing a GUL with him. He's 58. He wanted a little bit more coverage than the whole life product could provide. And so I gave him the option of this or this. He said, I like this one, less money, more coverage. Let's do it. And it's done. So that was actually, I finished up about 6:30 last night. So I called Ann and I said, hey, I'm coming home. I'm tired. We did one today. And I said, there's one more door I could knock right down the street. She goes, I said, but I'm going to come home. We'll do it tomorrow. And she says, go knock on that door, literally in those words. And I'm like, God, all right, I'll go knock on one more door. Married couple, 77 and 74, had moved down here to South Carolina from Indiana about 2.5 years ago. Again, it was a lot of warm-up, and I just thought we'd have a nice conversation, and I could get out of there. I could be home by 7:30, and that's all good. Bottom line is I got home last night around 10, and they had a policy. He couldn't find it. He went in, and he looked for it for about 5 minutes, came back. He goes, no, it must be somewhere else. I don't have it. And so I had a nice conversation with her while he was gone and sort of, was probing a little bit and planting some seeds. So when he came back, she got up and she went off into the same room and came back about 30 seconds later with the policy in her hand. So she said, while he's here, you might as well take a look at it. They said, I know it's a whole life policy. Our premium hasn't gone up. We've had it for about 12, 13 years. So when I looked at it, it hadn't gone up for 12 or 13 years because it was a 15-year term policy. They were in year 14. So basically what we did is simply, we just said, okay, here's the deal. This is going to run out on you. Well, that's not going to run out on you next year. The premium they were paying was about $1,000. Next year it was going to be just over $10,000. Everybody had an eye-rolling moment. And so we started talking about, do you want something, when you cross over the Rainbow Bridge? And they both agreed, yeah. That policy was only on him. They decided they want something on her too. So when I told them, I said, I knew they were used to paying, about $100, about $100 a month, but it was going to be more than that if they wanted to get something. So bottom line is, I said, let's re-engineer this. Let's work it backwards. You tell me the budget, I can tell you how much insurance you can get because we can just play with the numbers all day. So they said they wanted to have around $200 a month. So I knew obviously what we had to work with. They were good with that. And so then I kind of took it one step further, and I said, he's 77, she's 74, he's healthy, she's not so healthy. I knew she was going to be an AIG, he was going to be a trans. And so I said, do we want to heavy up on Mr. as opposed to Mrs.? And they said, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. So basically he was 75% of that $200, she was 25% of the AIG. He got about $12,000, she got about $10,000, and everybody is as happy as they can be. So, Tony, back to you.
Hey, big guy. I'm sorry, I didn't think I was going to be on the call. One of the things I really got to appreciate is Altrina yesterday. She kind of like reported about $4,000+ or whatever like that. But obviously she must have something she's got to do or whatever, so she doesn't report wrong numbers or bad numbers. And I got to give her kudos for that. I'm sure she'll get it back and kick everyone's butt later. But and then it's kind of funny listening to the other two. It's exactly, as bad as I hate to say it, I'm almost just going to piggyback off of them because they talk about getting to know the person, talking to the person. That makes wonders when you come up to a normal problem as far as them saying, hey, no, I don't want to do this, or some kind of a disagreement, or they're just trying to get out of it. And that makes them settle down and listen to you. And I think that's really cool because the fact that, yesterday was a very good example of that. One of the ones that I went to see had told me no before because they had insurance. And so I got to talking to him, and then he said to come back, and then I came back. Like I said, I kind of helped him yesterday, and then I helped her yesterday. And I did a lot of digging. I went into talk to the underwriters at one of the Transamerica to make sure I didn't have to go with an AIG or something else. Well, she was young too, so I would have had to went with Great Western. So I mean, there's all kinds of neat things that you can do. But again, it's preparation, and when you do that, it will work for you one way or another. I love what Andy talks about as far as being a 12 seed. Yeah, I know very much about that because the fact that my Buckeyes unfortunately are a 5 seed, so they're playing a 12 seed. But it's just taking the time, and then I've got to give Tom some kudos too because he always talks about when he's kind of down or he's bummed and he's in the car and he listens to certain music. Well, I went, and I think this is one of the best movies ever. It is called The Greatest Showman. And they've got one great soundtrack, and it is just so positive and so uplifting, and I've been listening to that, and I think that helps make a difference, too, because you're not just kind of worrying about going to the next one or get to this appointment, you're late or whatever, and I really, like I said, if you listen to a lot of the people that talk on this call, you will get so much. I mean, I love the fact that a 12 seed is putting his hat out there and saying, hey, I can do this, and the fact that everyone can do it. It's just, sometimes it just takes a great week or work ethic like Don, and I just got to give kudos. Like I said, I always give kudos to you anyway, Tony, because with your vision and your determination to help people, and I think that's the big difference. A lot of times people talk about helping people, but they really don't. They kind of give excuses or if you're not doing the best, you just kind of pawn them off, but as a team, we really don't do that, and I think that's great. The fact that we can help each other and we're willing to help each other is so much different than so many other businesses out there. So sorry I took an extra minute there. Thanks very much.
And every time I talk, I think I talk about mindset because a lot of people ask me all the time, how do you do it? You're a single mom, you do this, you do that, and you still can do business, and you can, the short story for that is just my mind is intentionally strong, and it's a lot of ways to do that, and and I'm probably, anybody that's close to me can tell you, I'm probably the most emotional, nurturing, caring person ever, but I intentionally make sure that I keep my mind strong. And you do that, by doing different things, reading books, making sure you listen to the right things, making sure you put the right thing in your spirit, whether that's the Bible, whether that's, self-help books. And one of the biggest things is a good mentor. And, I mean, I was listening to Scott talk on the call earlier, and the one thing that I know is a lot of people can't take a strong leader. And, you know, some of the things that he says, it may offend some people because a lot of people don't have strong minds. But if it offends you, you're probably not going to be one of the greats, because one of the biggest things that you have to do to be successful in business is be able to have a tough mind, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to make it in the field, in life, with struggles, with obstacles, with anything. So the main thing, I think, to let people know, is, especially new people, is focus on making your mind stronger at all times. If you get offended easy, you're probably not going to make it in business. Or if you do, you probably won't be at the top. That's why the top is not crowded. So just make sure you focus on getting your mind straight, because it doesn't matter how well you know the presentation. It doesn't matter how much money you want to make. It doesn't even matter how big your why is if you don't focus on making sure that you have manipulate your mentals enough so that they can be strong. So make sure you do that type of stuff. And what else was I going to say? Oh, the other thing that I was going to say, kind of talking about my week last week, was everybody knows that I have some goals, because I talked about that last week. So that's another one of my inspirations to write some big numbers for the next few months. But the other thing that I want to say is make sure you know your presentation. So that's really, really, really important, and not just for the new people. I know it's some people that's been on the call for a while. I know it's some people that's been in the field for a while that thinks that they can just do it better, or that thinks that they can just listen to the presentation one time and then create their. I've been doing this for 14 years, and I know Scott's presentation like verbatim, word for word, because it works. But the biggest reason why you want to know your presentation is because if you listen to Dom, if you listen to Scott, it allows you to be able to really focus on your client when you're in the house. So every house I go to, I probably do it a little bit different. I do the presentation the same, but I do the appointment different because I cater to my client. So last week I had 2 cases, and one of them, I had more than 2, but 2 of the ones that stick out in my mind. One of them, the client was very professional and very stoic, and, you know, you could tell she had everything together, and you could tell she's always did what she needed to do as far as insurance and that type of thing. So, you know, that client, I walked in and I showed her my badge, and I kept it professional. And, you know, I was still happy and friendly and smiling and all that good stuff, but I didn't get too personal with that person, other than telling her my stories and telling her how I've been in the business, and making sure I do, you know, the presentation the right way. But it worked because that's how she was. So I always just mimic my clients. And then there was another client that I went to who was completely opposite. As soon as I walked in the door, she hugged me. And, you know, she was excited. And, you know, she started telling me about her granddaughter that was on drugs and stole $9,000 from her. And she started telling me about her bad divorce. And she was just real personal with me, not business at all. So I did the same thing. I went in and, you know, so I said, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm a single mom. I have 2 amazing kids. I'm also divorced. And, you know, sometimes it can be hard. And, you know, and I got personal with her. I didn't tell her all my business, but I told her enough where she really felt like she was in my life, like I was in her life. And the reason why the reason why I can get personal and I can do different things with my client is because I know my presentation. So it doesn't matter at what point I start my presentation. I'm not confused to say, okay, now what am I supposed to say? What part of the presentation am I on? Am I supposed to talk about the companies now? It's like it just rolls. It's just in my head, and it rolls off my tongue because I know the presentation without even thinking about it, like subconsciously. So I can always jump in and do my presentation the right way. So long story short, make sure you keep your brain strong, listen to your mentors, know your presentation like the back of your hand, so you're not focused on your presentation, you're focused on your client. And I'm going to go out here and see what I can do this week with Don.
Guys, did you hear that? That right there at the end where the guy said, you know, hey, I need to really find out from my niece what's going on. That could have been, let's talk worst case scenario. All the deals die right there on the table. The lady says, well, why don't you just come back and see me when you come see him? And Scott has nothing for the whole day, dead on arrival, okay? Instead, and this is what I'm saying, guys, the difference in success and failure is like so close. Like it's like an inch, okay? Scott comes over. He sees it happening, runs over the top, takes control of the situation, calls the niece, and gains the control back of the situation. Guys, it's so important. I can't stress to you enough. This is why some of you write 3,000 a day. This is why some of you, get a lot less more often. I'm just being real. Listen, coaches sometimes got to be direct with their love.
Okay. Gosh, I feel unworthy to follow those two. But, yeah, I hadn't had a whole lot going on this week. We lost the whole day on Monday to snow. It came in early, and it just sort of messed up the whole day and didn't get anything going on Tuesday. Ended up spending an afternoon trying to save one, which I did save. But and then I got in, I think, my second door yesterday, and everything was going pretty good. It took me a while to get some rapport with the lady. She was one of the ones that just sort of looking at you funny, and each question that you ask, you get a one-word answer. Just can't seem to get warmed up, but finally did, and I found out that she had a policy already that was in place, and she thought she had about a $10,000 policy that she took out about 3 or 4 years ago, but in the end it was $12,500, and it was through Liberty Bankers, and just not a whole lot I could do there. I did go over her options, and she did have a little bit of cash value there, but and I showed her what she could do with that if she wanted to, either cash that in or maybe purchase a reduced paid-up policy. But didn't really make sense to do that. I'm almost sort of glad she didn't do it. But after that, I got in the car and I'm thinking, gosh, what do I need to do to get something this week? And I had set up all my leads so that they were right near there. And I thought, I really need to, I'm going to find one that's about 15 minutes away or 20 minutes away on purpose so that I can clear my head, make sure that I'm positive. And sure enough, I did that, found one that was about 20 minutes away. And after that, I got right in and helped the lady. She was disabled, and she didn't think she would qualify for anything. And she was on a number of medications, but nothing. It was mainly her back. She had a disc problem, and but she wasn't on but one pain medication, and so that didn't really mess her up. And we were able to give her some a nice policy level, a level policy, and so she was real pleased with that. And after that, then I felt like I had some momentum. Then I got with another lady, and she had a policy that I keep running into this, and I'm only in this. This is my third full month in this, so I'm still learning all the different products that are out there. And I've run into this a couple of times. It looks like whole life. There is a cash value there, but it's, I guess, what they call a flexible premium type policy where you can pay, you can pay a certain amount or you can pay more. I think there's a minimum amount that you're supposed to pay on it. But anyway, she had a pretty good cash value on that policy, and her husband had that same policy, and he was dropped suddenly after being with him for a long, long time. So she was worried that she might get dropped. And she's asking me, well, why would they drop him? And I'm like, well, in my experience, the only reason would be because of age. You get to a certain point and it would expire. But anyway, I said, what you really need to do, and I explained to her the benefits of whole life and some of the programs that we could offer, and we were able to get her a nice, a nice program. And it was, a little bit more than she wanted and than she was thinking. But in the end, she realized the benefits of it, and her daughter was there to help. And we got through the phone interview and everything, so it worked out good. So ended up with a good day. The week is turned around all of a sudden, and now we're back on track, and still trying to learn a lot of things in this business. But I'm hoping to get another good day today.
So Senior Center yesterday, and as you know, regardless if I do senior centers or not, I'm ordering leads every week religiously on every Thursday. So, you know, the senior centers are great. It kind of adds more people for me to see in a week, but I also keep it consistent with my lead flow. 5 years going and don't miss a lead order at all. So it's everything. But my day yesterday, I had a lady mess with my presentation a little bit. So I'm doing my presentation and everything's going great. And one of the ladies at one of the tables says, asked a question. She says, hey, you could take your policy and sell it to somebody else, right? And, you know, if we were one-on-one, I wouldn't, like, shoot her down. I'd try to, you know, caress her a little bit, make her feel like she knows everything. But because she's giving out completely wrong information throughout a room of people, it's not fair for other people to believe that that's actually true. So I say, you know, unfortunately, you can't really sell your policy to somebody else. There is something called viatical settlements where people can buy your policy for you. So when you die, they get the money, not your family. That's possible. You can't really sell your policy to somebody else. That's just not possible. She's like, yeah, it is. I hear people doing it all the time. And I was like, oh, great. So who do you know that's done it? And she's like, well, I don't know anybody. And I was like, all right, well, you know, if you find someone that does it, I'd love to see how they did it because I know we don't see that ever. In the business, you just can't really do it. And she's kind of annoyed the way I said it, and she kept saying, no, I see it all the time. No, I see it all the time. So when I went to go collect the pizza registration sheets, when I got to that table, everyone at that table was saying, mail me the information. So it's kind of spread this, like, negative feed in that little table area. And I asked her, I was like, you want me to mail it, right? So did you hear my whole presentation on how I search all the companies and find what's best for you based on your health and your age? Like, I can't mail you all the companies I deal with. It's not possible. And they're like, yeah, but just still mail it with me. And the one guy was like, yeah, I just want to sit with someone I trust. And I was like, well, you saying you don't trust me then? Because, you know, obviously I'm on your side to help you, and I could care less about the companies. I care about you to improve your situation. And she was like, no, just don't worry about it. And on the registration card, she didn't write her apartment number. I was like, what's your apartment number? She's like, don't worry about it. So long story short, I finish up with a lot of people. I help a lot of people out. And I looked through my leads for the area. I knew I had somebody in the building that was a lead card I filled out that I never got a hold of. So I pull it out, and sure enough, it's the same lady, right? So I was like, screw it, I'm going to go see her anyways. It says 4G. I'm going to 4G. So I knock on 4G's door, and she opens it, and she looks at me, and she goes, oh, I knew you would come here. And I was like, yep, I'm here. She's like, come on in, make yourself at home. Sold her brother that was in the house as well. And I used the lead card as a backup. So I didn't lead with the lead card. I leaded with the pizza and how I helped her earlier, but also I left at the end for when you get this objection, where I get it every now and then, where people don't want to give you a bank account. They have it, and like, well, you know, I'll call you, or I'll get it to you tomorrow. I'll come back tomorrow. I kind of fumble around and look for it. Like, I'll see an envelope. There's envelopes always on the table, so I'm like looking. I'll see like a Chase. Oh, there's the Chase bank account. Oh, there it is right there. Let's open it up and see what the number is. And instead of them saying, oh, just come back tomorrow. Nonsense. So I held the lead card in the backup. Never had to actually use it. I did, though, at the end, after I closed her. I was like, hey, you know, you filled out this card. And she looked at me. She shook my hand. She's like, oh, nice to meet you. I was meaning to meet you because of this. So kind of funny story, but I hope it helps somebody. I'll kick it back to you.
To the people that need me, speak to me, speak through me. And the reason I say that is because you're going to get in situations where you're going to need that memory. And if you're on the call every day, that's going to come into play. It's going to give you little nuggets. Say this, say that. And it's just going to be so natural and just flow that the client feels like a conversation, like we always say. But you're just, oh, yeah, I remember Bill Ham said that. I remember Carol said this. Oh, I remember Tony said this. So literally you're going into this house as like the transformer, is the best way I can say it. Is that you're not just Dom Thompson or, you know, Derek Bryce. You're just going in and you have the entire team, and you're like, Ms. Johnson, bring it. You're going to get help today, bottom line. So, but shout out to Derek as well. One thing I did do that helped me last week was he talked about he'll go and look at the birthdays, and if he sees like they're born in the 40s, he's going to hit them first. And if they're born in the 50s, he may hit them second. In the 60s, he'll kind of get that after goal. And so I did that, and you know what? It really worked. And that really paid off. And so I got excited about that because when you see they're in their 40s, you know usually that's bigger AP because either something's wrong, either they filled it out because they're the habitual card filler outer, if you will, and there's nothing there, or there's something there, they never got anything, or the beautiful part is we're there to help because they've been overpaying for so long. They're used to paying their premium, and you can go in. You know it's going to be, from the business side, I want to say, it's going to be very good on the AP for us, but then also, too, you're just truly putting them in a better product. I want to say this, though, and I won't tell you about that case study, but Ben Franklin said, you know, when you're finished changing, you're finished. You know, and I think that's so, so huge. You know, when you're finished changing, you're finished. Think about if I was finished changing, riding solo, and I said, this is as good as it gets, this is it. I'm just writing my $3,500 a week, and I'm done. You know, I would be finished. But no, I was humbling myself, got some tutelage from Scott, from you, came back over, been riding with the team, and guys, it's just been fantastic ever since. And my whole goal is I want to try and hit $10,000 every week, not for my shine, but I know that's going to push Walter, and then that's going to push Derek, and that's going to push Carol. It's going to push the whole team. You know, rising tide, everybody has to ride. And really, the method to the madness, Tone, is so when you go out and any of us recruit, or you tell about the company, you're able to say, my top agents are producing X. And they're like, how? You guys got like half what we have. It's like, well, you know, we're just blessed and we're beasts. What do you want to do? So let me tell you this, though, for sake of time. I had an 80, I think she was 79 or 80. And long story short, what's helping me a lot is when you guys get in there, you know your presentation, you're sitting down having a conversation, you really just have to dig. And what I mean by that is I used the story. You guys should know it from the presentation. And, you know, Carolyn was 62. She was paying about $100 a month. And, my goodness, I think she had about $25,000 in coverage. And wouldn't you know it, you know, when you go through how they were going to kick her out. And Ms. Johnson cut me off. She said, I'm going to tell you this right now. I would never pay $100 a month for coverage. So that kind of gave me an idea where she was at. But long story short, as you get into it, Ms. Johnson, go give me your bank account. You know, and there's a method to that as well. And when you know it, we go through all her line items. And when I break it down, I show her, I say, Ms. Johnson, you're paying $180 right now for your final expenses. Did you know that? What? There's no way. Well, you don't know it because you have 16 policies. We need to combine this into one house, get you more coverage, and since you've been overpaying, we need to get you some money back and make sure that we can maximize what you're truly entitled to. You deserve that. And so that was kind of a case that stuck out to me, guys. These clients will tell you anything. They got a lot of life going on, even at the stage that they're in. Sometimes they just don't know, and you just have to make sure that you're truly there to help. And don't just settle for the sale. Again, like I say, get the whole house, get down there, break it all down, and find out exactly where they're at and maximize every opportunity. So Tone, I know I went over a little bit, but I'll pass it back to you. I hope that helps somebody today. Tone, you got me?
I got you.
All right. Yeah, I got those special guaranteed leads that you gave me that we didn't tell anybody about. But absolutely, thank you for the celebration. It's always an honor and, you know, humbling to be celebrated on the call after a good day. I just absolutely love this team. And that's not just cliche. I really mean that. It's changing my life every single day and really just a new mindset. But always got to start off, you know, God's grace. We work our faith. Deuteronomy 8:18, guys. You got to remember your source. And I just encourage anybody, when you get in the car and you're heading out, to say, Lord, lead me to the people that need me. Speak to me and speak through me. And, man, just situations happen that just end up blowing your mind. But, Tone, honestly, I'm still at 15 leads. I was going to double up, but it's just been going so well. So I just kind of stayed where I'm at. But depending on what happens next week, and no disrespect to the senator, I'm going to keep going, but we might be putting it out of reach. A little bit of shots fired there. But in all fairness, I may double up next week. But really what I've been doing, Tone, is just the science of the system. I mean, I can't say it enough. And I want to brag on you a little bit. You know, the word talks about let your boasting come from another man's mouth, man. And I just got to brag on you and Scott because you guys talk to me off the ledge. I mean, people that are new on the call and people that may know me a little bit, you guys don't understand. I use the boxing reference all the time. I was hanging up the gloves, walking back to the showers. Like I was out of this business. I said, man, I thought I could do what everybody else says that this business is supposed to do. I gave it a shot, and, man, it's time to do something else. But I did one thing that helped, and I gave Scott and Tony a call, And, man, they really talked me off the ledge. They said, don't go to Arizona. Just trust us. Give us a year. You're giving everybody else a shot. Give us a shot. And if we can't change your life, then you can go to Arizona. But, man, and that's what we did. We walked out on faith. And you guys got to understand this. And I'm going to get into my case study. I know I'm a little long-winded, but just, brush your teeth, pay attention to them, you get out the shower, and listen to this. So I was afraid, and I'll never use that word, but I was afraid to get on a standing order because that $450, $500, $600 a week was like, man, how am I going to do that? Like, what if I don't make a sale and all this stuff, the cost of freedom, the fear. And I finally just stepped out there, talked to Scott a lot, talked to you, Tone, and man, ever since I stepped out on that faith, giving God his glory, but then also you guys your credit, man, those leads come in, they're fresh. You're not having to go back through and beat your head against the wall, and they're just coming in when everybody else says that you can't go to Georgia, you can't make it in Georgia, you can't get leads. And I'm having the best year, best production ever, setting records, breaking records, personal records. And so, man, it's a shout-out to you, Tone especially, and just to the nation. I can't say enough. But what's really happening is just that. When I go and get a lead, and I hope this helps somebody, I literally go to the door. It's either 20%, 60%, 20%. And I say, you never know until you go. I don't care what the house looks like, what the area or the territory. And 20% are lay down. You get excited, help them out, knock them out. 60%, you got to close them. So now you're at 80%. So when you get that knucklehead that's giving you the runaround, whatever, guess what? I probably could close you, but, hey, here's the delivery notice or here's my card. I'll send you a postcard. And if you call me back, great. I know I can help you. If not, prayerfully you just don't die without dignity. And, guys, that's the harsh reality, but that's the business that we're in is if you don't want to let somebody that he knows that God sent him to you to help you, and, again, I'm nobody special, but everybody on this call, God is using us, and I don't want to preach today, but, we're there. We know what we're doing. We have the system. We have all the products in place to really do better than what they've had before 9 times out of 10. So if they don't want to help you, you know what? Use the exercise of next. Go to somebody that just can't wait to see you to be there. But real quick, Tone, I call this the player move. We talk about chess a lot, and I hit Scott up on this, and this is my hat off to Scott because I had a client, and this was my second one of the day, but it stands out the most, and I'll try to share one for the sake of time. But my client that I wrote up probably back in January or December had Gerber, and they called me and said, hey, we need to update our account information. We changed banks. Our banks was compromised. Can you help us? And I was like, yes. It's Gerber. Okay, well, all right. Well, and then I thought maybe I'll just call him. But then I heard Scott's voice saying, man, go over there. And here's why. It's because last time I sat with the daughter who has Gerber, she's battling cancer, doing really well now. But the mom had a State Farm term insurance policy for like $119, and it was going up to like $252. And so that was in my mind, and I said, well, maybe we can turn her. Maybe she's finally ready to let me actually help her. And so we go over there, and you kind of go in, again, with the velvet glove and the iron fist in your mind. And we helped her out. She's cooking salmon and everything. And she's like, yeah, I just need this Gerber updated. Come to find out, here's where favor comes in. We help her out, and she didn't even need the account information. She thought she gave me the wrong one before, but it was already the right one. So I said, hey, Mom, you ever update that policy? And like you said you were going to do, it's been about 3-4 months. And she just looked at me kind of with shame, and she said, no, I've been too busy taking care of everybody else. I pulled the chair out, guys. I said, sit down. Come on. Let's stop the bleeding. You deserve to have somebody take care of you since you're taking care of everybody else. And what we did, we called the company again so she could hear, understand that it's term. There's a hole in the bucket. Converted it to whole life, went over her goals, got that knocked out. And that's how we handled that. But
are thick-headed out there like me, we kind of need hooks to hang it on every now and then. It's kind of like when I was learning the Big Five, and I had to remember, cancer and heart and so forth. For me, it was always Charlie Horse slows down Charlie. Cancer, heart, stroke, diabetes, and COPD. And if you're in front of somebody and you're all nervous and you're trying to remember those 5 things, I can't tell you how many times I just had to slow down and say to myself, Charlie Horse slows down Charlie. Okay, I left down slows. I left out the stroke part. And, you have to have hooks to hang things on, and that one's for free, by the way. Charlie Horse slows down Charlie. And, what Scott's been talking about a lot, what Trina just talked about real recently, you got to respond to people for who they are. And, Tony, you're talking about, talks at conference next time. And, if we're brain dead to ask my wife's husband to speak again, I've already got, my new topic really rolling, man. And it's just called This Dog Will Hunt. this dog will hunt. And I noticed when I first started out, I was just like this eager young, I've never been young in doing this, but this eager young puppy, just like slobbering over people, just getting out of my car and charging up to people like a young, Labrador puppy, just slobbering over. I got insurance. Oh, I got the best in the company. I've got the best in the world. And just all over people and just kind of blow them out of the water. And that might work for a certain portion of the population, but that doesn't work for every kind of breed. I mean, a lot of men, they're like German shepherds or bulldogs or even pit bulls, and they don't want some young pup just up smothering them and acting like an idiot. They're just going to, bite your head off or bite at your heel. And it really is true that you got to identify, what kind of canine is in the pound today, who you're dealing with. And so that was very true yesterday. Start of the day, I actually found a Labrador Retriever, very first person, and that's really pretty much who I am. I might be accused of being kind of maybe outgoing and having fun and love to joke. My theme is if life's worth doing, it's worth having fun. And I love to hang with people that like to have fun while they're doing it. Well, not everybody likes that. Some people are a lot more serious and so forth, and you kind of got to read who people are. But I was with a fellow lab to start the day, and we just hit it off, and we were joking, and I did the warm up, the warm up and the time with them just like I love to do, and that was fine. But the next guy I was with, she wasn't quite that way. She was a lot more like a Yorkshire Terrier, Yorkies have that long flowing hair and their beautiful appearance, and they're very kind of caught up on that. And I could tell she felt awkward because she didn't expect anybody to come, so she wasn't able to like make herself perfect. And she had her grandbaby there and all that kind of stuff. So just had to kind of shift who I was into a little bit more of of a golden retriever, a little bit more laid back, sort of well mannered, but still playful and intelligent and kindly to strangers, and just treat her with that little bit more professionalism and tune into who she was in my this dog will hunt scenario. And then by that time it was 8 o'clock at night. And by the way, I missed that sale because it was already too late to call her company. And she wasn't 100%. She didn't have her policy, so she wasn't 100% sure she had term, no matter what I told her. So today we're going to prove that she has term, and I believe I'm going to go back and get that sale. But it was 8 o'clock at night, and you just said yesterday about okay, you got to be willing to stay out late some nights, and and I have this one lead, 52-year-old male. So a lot of us think, okay, they can be pretty pit bullish, pretty bulldogish. And then secondly, strike two, he'd underlined and highlighted these things on his lead card. So I think, okay, this guy's probably a character. Maybe he thinks this is like some free program. But I said, you know what, this late at night, I'm not going to burn my best couple leads because they may just get ticked at me. I don't want to burn a great couple lead, and I don't want to go to a single woman this late at night because she may not want to let me in as it's darkish. And so I said, you know what, I'll do this one last door knock. If he's a total jerk and 20% will never see me, at least I've done the knock, I've checked it off. And so, but you never want to prejudge. Long story short, turned out to be more of a beagle and a mix of German Shepherd, so I tuned in on treating it professional. And I wish I could finish the story. I'll try to save it for next time because basically I turned it in from a regular policy into a 10-pay and turned it in from a $1,200 AP into like a $2,000 AP in the process of time. And it just turned out to be the best decision I made all day to knock on that last door. So hope that helps somebody.
Anyway, just a little nugget, and actually this was something I'd never done before. It just kind of rolled off my tongue, and that's one of the things as you're in it more and you're reading the situations and you're reading the people, new things will just come out, and a lot of times they work, sometimes they won't. But this was on a replacement, and it was a smaller deal, and it was right exactly what Tony was saying. I was rushing it. I smelled the sale, and it was a smaller sale, and I was trying to get the fast break, run down the court, transition, slam dunk, and get on to the next house so I can keep ahead of DB Derek Bryce. But so it wasn't, I didn't lay all the groundwork like I normally would because like I said, I was rushed. I was doing the opposite of what Tony was teaching, so listen to Tone. On this one, though, it was funny because I had the mindset going in that I'm not leaving this house out of sale. And if you guys ever do this, some of these people, they're what we call the folks that they continue sending in the lead cards. And they're not duplicates. They're just someone they sent it in 6 months ago, or they sent you one a year ago, or you were there before because they sent it in again. So when I get those, whether I sat with them before, whether I got in the door, didn't get in the door, presented before, didn't, my mindset is, and Carol Nunez loves when I say this, if you send me 2 lead cards, you're buying a freaking policy. I mean, and you just got to have that mindset when you go in there. So I already had this mindset. When I was there a year ago, I never got a hold of the guy. I was there 2 or 3 times, never caught him. Just he would call back and deliver notices. I'd run back over there. He wouldn't be there. His car still wasn't in the driveway, so he was obviously taking a notice to work or somewhere where he was at. Long story short, so I'm bulldogging this guy. I'm like, we're selling this policy. He pulls out, and he's just really like, I just got to talk to my other agent, see if there's something he's got better. And I said, you know what? I agree wholeheartedly with that. And normally on a replacement, I'm a little bit more softer, and I'm a little bit more about, hey, we're upgrading you. We're making sure we get you in a better spot. We're upgrade your program, get you in a little better place. And I'm a little bit softer on the term replacement. This guy, it just was already beyond that, past that. He knew what we were doing. He knew how this was going, how it was working. And so I told him, I said, you know what? I'm going to do one better than that. I'm going to contact your agent. And so I flipped to the last page of the application. I said, you see this form here that this is called the replacement notice. In the state of Ohio, this is a required form. I said, you know what this form does? This form actually will cross the desk of your other agent. I'm going to tell him what we're doing. I said, so he's going to get this form. He's going to see what we're doing. And you know what? I said, if he's got something better for you, he'll come back out and call you. I said, but you know what? If he doesn't, and I said, and I bet he doesn't even call you, he won't even call you. I said, but I think that's a great idea. Let's tell him what we're doing. And it was just funny. It just worked out pretty good. He kind of came back around. He's like, you know what? You're right. He said, if he's got something better, because I showed him, I said, look, well, he put you in, ain't better than this. I said, so if he's got something better, he's going to have to come back better now and do something better than what we're doing today. So anyway, it worked out great. It was kind of a cool thing, just the way it worked out. So I'll throw it back to you, Tone.